Blue Lock just did the literal impossible. As in this chapter, we see Hugo going absolutely insane as we learn more about his backstory. But not only that, but also his ego. And then to end it off, we see Ego getting ready to sub in 2 super players. Alright, starting off this chapter, also called Double Jokers, we get right into it as we see Hugo, who looks with his dead eyes right at Isagi as he tells him to listen up. He tells Isagi that he will explain to him about his ego as the second best, and Isagi just looks at him, while looking pretty annoyed at him. We then see a quick panel from the Loki and Rin duel, where Loki obviously was too afraid to face Rin, so he decided to chicken out and pass the ball towards Hugo, who traps it so sick, like always, and he then starts his lecture as he tells Isagi that he bets that he believes that the second best means someone who couldn't manage to become the best, asking Isagi if he isn't right. However, even though he asked him, he still doesn't give him any time to answer, as he then puts out his hand and tells him that it's not it at all, and Isagi just looks super confused as it sounds like Hugo is just yapping to himself. We then cut to a panel of Ego, and Hugo tells Isagi that they have just been brainwashed by that bowl, cut 4 eyes to believe that they have to be the best, which I mean, that isn't something that you can argue with as that's true, but is it really a bad thing though? Anyway, we then get back to Isagi, who looks super furious and mad as he tells Hugo to just be silent, and that he doesn't want to hear about his biased opinions anyway. But Hugo hits back with a serious blow as he tells Isagi that he is the one that is actually biased. As Hugo is playing around with the ball, he continues and says Isagi's name, and asks if he haven't ever looked at others and felt that they were wasting their talents. And just as Hugo said that, we can clearly see that it finally ticked inside Isagi's brain, as he, in an instant, thinks to BAROU, Yukimiya, and Hiyori, who he has previously felt were wasting their potential and talent. We then see Hugo's eyes close up, and he looks serious as he tells Isagi that it has been like that for him for as long as he can remember. With that, we spot a younger-looking version of Hugo, where he is wondering why everyone is so ignorant of themselves, thinking that they want to do things they can't, and yearning for things outside their reach. And he explains that it really drives him crazy. We then move up to a slightly older Hugo, who is standing around in a field of gears, as he explains that when he sees humans failing because their talents and self-image are unaligned, it makes him want to correct their mechanisms, saying that he was naturally gifted with that sensitivity, and that it's something that he just can't seem to help at all. After that, we see him going up 1 gear, as he actually destroys Isagi with one of the coldest nutmegs ever. Like, this was serious for him. Anyway, as he did that, he explained that it's why whenever he meets people, he tells them that things will go better if you do this, or if you try this, then you can beat him. Another example is him telling someone that if you do this, then you will be more popular, and lastly, if you do this, then you will even become more loved. By the way, I just want to mention that while he was yapping a bunch, the nutmeg under Isagi was a pass towards Charles, just so that everyone is following. After that, we move over to Isagi, who every time we see him just looks angrier and angrier, as it looks like he wants to rip Hugo to pieces, while saying that it's all creepy as hell, and he calls him a self-centered meddling jerk. Hugo looks back at Isagi, and their eyes meet, as Hugo tells him that he is exactly right, explaining that he is just doing what he wants, so he doesn't mind if Isagi hates him, as he isn't doing it out of charity or out of spite. Continuing and saying that it's just that when his ideas cause someone to live more suitably, the world begins to turn anew. While he says that, we also see Charles, who gives back the ball to Hugo. Hey, it's Natsu mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? And Hugo then does an insane trap with his chest as he jumps up and meets with the ball. It then gets dark around him, and he looks a bit more serious as he says that when people meet him, then their destinies change. And producing people like that is utterly fascinating. And guys, hear me out. From what Hugo is saying, I do really get him. I'm not going to lie here. Isagi then looks back at Hugo, and just then, he realizes something huge as he thinks to himself that Hugo might actually be kind of like himself. Isagi then thinks back to his conversation with Onatsi, and how Isagi pretty much said the same thing, and also changed Onatsi's destiny. We then get back to Hugo, who says that it makes life worth living, telling Isagi that he wants to learn why he was born, and why Hugo is actually making me such a huge fan of him in this chapter, like he is spitting these bars like he was some Greek philosopher. Like, honestly, just keep on cooking, bro. Anyway, he isn't just cooking with what he says, but also on the field, as we see him going up 1 gear as he begins to get away from Isagi. Ryo sees this, and looks decently annoyed as he says that Hugo broke free from Isagi. Aiku, who is also eyeing this down, screams out in a nanosecond and tells everyone to watch for a pass. Lastly, we have the analytical crow, Karasu, who tells Aiku that he is already watching and calls him a dumbass. We then once again move back to Hugo, who, while running at top speed, says that his talent is suitable for changing others to make the world turn. So he has never once wanted to be a striker, but with that said, he wants to win the World Cup as the second best and as a midfielder. We then see Isagi on the side, who is doing everything in his power to try and get a bit closer to Hugo, and just try to destroy the gap between them. But while he is stressing, Hugo looks to be calmer than ever, as he asks Isagi if he knew that the world record for most times winning the World Cup is 3 times, explaining that Pele, the king of soccer, is the only one to hold that record. It's off topic right now, but I just love when the series mentions real-life players. I just think that it's so awesome. Anyway, back into the game where we see Loki, who is starting to smirk as he is in front of Hugo and tells him to just come on. But if Loki wasn't trouble enough, then Charles also appears behind Aiku and says that there's no way and that Hugo is going to pass over to him instead of Loki. But we then coldly get a close-up to Hugo's eye, which we can see is in the shape of a spinning gear, and that's sick, as it means that Hugo has an original metavision design. Or that might be too much to say now, but that's what I believe and what it most likely is. Hugo then speaks up and says that it's exactly why he will win the World Cup 4 times, and that his ego is insane, just casually saying that he will win one of the hardest trophies to win in football, 4 times in a row, and we can see that his body has the ability to match that ego as he starts to emanate a bunch of spinning gears around him as he really locks in. Isagi just looks towards him in total disbelief. Meanwhile, Hugo then fires off not a pass, but instead a shot towards the goal, while saying that he will become one of humanity's legends. And the shot from Hugo goes right past both Charles and Loki, but also Aiku and Karasu, who can't do anything. Karasu even looks back in pure awe as he thinks that all the pass courses his teammates created were just decoys. We then see Gagamaru, who starts to jump towards the ball, while he himself was also surprised that Hugo was the one who took the shot. We then get a close-up panel to Isagi once again, as he is just in awe, as he thinks that Hugo's dream is huge, and that it's not about being the best or the second best. We then see the ball going past Gagamaru sadly, and right into the back of the net, which gives France their second goal of the match, and also the lead currently, which the France spectators seem to love as they scream out in pure happiness. Isagi, who is still just breathing heavily, thinks that his dream is more grandiose than him. He looks at Hugo and thinks that he is sharper than what he is, and his ego is even bigger than his own. And that last part is what shocked me the most, as we have found someone who can out-ego Isagi, and that's completely insane. After that, we first see that the first half is over since the referee blew his thing, which I forget what it's called in English, my bad. But after that, we see one of the most insane and mind-blowing panels we have ever gotten, as Hugo is legit half human and half some sort of machine here, as he then asks Isagi if he still hates the idea of the second best, which I'll admit and say that if I were Isagi, then I might even fold here, because after seeing Hugo score a goal like that, I would just be in total disbelief and shocked to my core. We then, however, move on to the bench where we see Hugo, who tells someone to get ready and that they are starting in the second half, and he then calls them his double jokers, and we then learn that it's both BAROU and SHIDOU, which is completely insane, as we haven't seen these guys since the Neo-Egoist League, which feels like it has been ages. Also, just look at them. They look completely filled with bloodlust and pure fire in their eyes, as they are going to get ready to get out and wreak havoc. However, having them on the field at the same time is what leaves me really in awe, as it's just insane, and I can't see them working well together. However, if they somehow manage to work it out, then I will be blown away. Anyway, moving on from that, I can tell you guys that there is no break next week, which I'm just thankful for, as if they were to drop a break after a chapter like this, then I might have just lost my mind, as I'm not even joking, but I'm so fired up for the next chapter. There is so much stuff that it could be. We could get more information on BAROU or SHIDOU. We could even get some interactions between Loki and Isagi since the first half is done. Or we could just get into the changing rooms and hear Ego's plan moving forward and just what everyone's thoughts are after this first half, which I would honestly love to hear, everyone's thoughts, and how they plan to move forward with some people, now having a different sense of ego. I got so excited that I even forgot to say the name of the next chapter, but it will be called Desperate Adversity, which I'm guessing is just a standard chapter name since Blue Lock is currently in adversity. Now after reading this chapter, I can go out and announce something insane, and that is that I, with full confidence, am ready to give this chapter a 10 out of 10 score, as it is just awesome, and it got me so excited for what's to come. But please let me know what rating you would give this chapter, and also what your favorite part of this chapter was, as there are so many to choose from. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.